What is up, YouTube? Bobbles and Ball Cards back with another video. I think it's actually been a couple months maybe since I have actually done a recorded video, and that one was actually a reveal. Um, sorry it's been so long. Just been busy doing the reseller stuff, and then just life, doing things in life and everything. So I'm not out of cards at all. Still partaking in the hobby. Uh, YouTube, that's just extension of the hobby. And sometimes we have to prioritize things, and there's only so many hours in the day. So, anyway, if you watch this and you're new here, hit the thumbs up, uh, subscribe if you haven't, and comment below because this is going to be a topic that's been talked about, but I just wanted to kind of touch on it on my behalf too. Also, just it's actually 10:17 p.m. at night on a Wednesday, and my wife is currently working because her server at work was down all day. So I figured, what the hey, let's get on and let's talk. So there's been a hot topic in the hobby on YouTube. Um, Obviously, an ex NFL player came out and said he was doing it, and so it's become like this popular thing recently within the hobby. Yet it's something that's been going on for many, many, many years, and it's debated. Should it be accepted? Shouldn't it be accepted? Um, it gets mixed in with comics and other things, but y'all know what I'm talking about, and that is the topic of altering a card, whether that be um, trimming or repairing or what have you, right? Now, folks will say, well, what about wiping fingerprints? Is that actually, is that altering a card? No. Like, altering a card would be changing it to a state like it's this gray area, right? You could say, well, altering it to it's get it back to its original state, but its original state should be really in good condition, right? Almost perfect condition in theory. But many cases today, cards come out of the packs and they're not nearly in perfect condition. Back in the 50s, they weren't in perfect condition. Hell, it was, the 50s. In the 90s, they weren't in perfect condition. So when you're wiping a fingerprint off, you're basically just, if you pull this Steven Adams out of a pack, you're not wearing gloves or anything, and you're handling the card and looking at it, you get it in the mail and you're like, oh, damn, somebody had some chicken. I can tell, run a fingerprint DNA data off of this, and you want to take a microfiber and wipe that off, by all means, right? That's like dusting, a picture. Like in an art museum, you can dust off the frame or whatever. That's perfectly fine. You're not changing the card. But when you start adding chemicals and foreign substances, whether that be wax or whatever, and you start putting that on there to buff out a scratch or shine it up a tad bit better or, what have you, that's changing the card. If you trim a card and then go to, flattening it or whatever to make it back to its uh its specified size, on its measurements, you are altering the state of that card. Now, do I agree or disagree with altering, whether it be, you know snip 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 or buff buff buff? I 100% disagree with it. I actually collect vintage cards, many of which have been cut okay? But all of these have one thing in common. It is 100% identifiable and noticeable that these have been trimmed, right? The Gehrig, the bottom is cut off. Same with the Babe Ruth, the bottom is cut off. The Willie Mays, no borders. I always joke, borders are a parallel. And why do I buy these? Well, a couple reasons. A, the picture is the most important part on a card like this, right? That is the iconic part. The back, where you can read it, is also an important part. The borders, you know, yeah, sure, everybody would love sharp corners and perfectly centered, but that's going to push it into a category that doesn't fit my wallet. These cards, I get great examples of the card, of the image, of the back of the card has a little bit, whether it be the border or the bottom trim where it says Big League Chew, you know, that's missing. And would it be great if they had it? Absolutely. But the examples of these cards are very, very nice. Some people would disagree and would say, no, I don't want those. Those are ugly. Me personally, in my collecting style, I am fine with these because it made them, I always joke, A means affordable, right? So, but these cards were not sat down and meticulously cut and trimmed and detailed with the intent of deception to increase the numerical grade to then increase the value of the item. These are completely different. When people ask, is it, should it be accepted? Should it be allowed? I want to go back to a video. I don't know when he did it, a week ago or so, maybe. But Neo did a video, and I guess it was reflecting on a comment or something about how money has ruined the hobby. And he argued that no, money hasn't ruined the hobby, but money has changed the hobby. And many people just aren't wanting to adapt to the changes or accept the changes or whatever. This goes back to grading in general. Ever since folks knew that grading a card and that the higher the grade, the higher the value, the higher, the resale, whatever they could get, people have tried to find ways to simply beat the system. If you are doing this and you know that your chances are 50-50 that card's going to come back as altered or it's going to come back with a higher numerical grade because they missed it, and you're playing that thin line because you want to beat the system and you want to be deceptive and you want to be deceiving because you want to increase the value of the item, then it is 100% wrong to do so. If you really just wanted that card to look better for your collection, you wouldn't really care about the grade. You wouldn't care if it was numerically graded. You wouldn't care if it went from a 6 to an 8 just because you shaved a little bit of it off. That's not your PC card. That's a card that you are trying to deceive and beat the grading system. And I'm not saying any specific company out there. There's people that will try cards on all of the different companies just simply to see which one they can get the better grade at. Now, this is coming from somebody that does bulk submissions, that collects modern, ultra modern, vintage, all of it. I don't care if comic books press. That is a completely different collectible. They notate that, restorations have been done, that sort of thing. Um, Pressing, I don't see as being, a deceiving or deceptive means to getting a better grade. It's known. But when people are literally trimming edges and bleaching and pressing and all of these little technical stuff, buying these cleaning kits and everything else to solely get a higher grade for monetary value, that's wrong. It's 100% wrong. Um, I also look at it as a card is simple. You can see every element of it. You can look at it front, you can look at it back, you can see the corners, you can see the edges. You can see the surface, really, if you get technical enough. A comic book is a multi-level item. It has all of its pages, varying pages, and there's more to it than even just the front and back. You have the spine, you have the staples, you have the pages, you have the page colors. It's always cracked me up that people put white pages or off white to white pages. What the hell does it matter? It's in a slab. You're not looking at the pages anyway. That's another element to the grading and value aspect of a collectible item. It shouldn't really make two hill of shits of whether or not the pages are white or off white because you can't see them on a comic book. On a card, you can see every element of it. You can see front and back. So, should it be accepted? No, it shouldn't be accepted because there's so many complaints within this hobby of shadiness and scamminess and this and that and the other. You are literally allowing those folks to win by saying it's okay to do this because they are 100% being deceptive and deceiving, trying to beat the system for their monetary gain. And let's be real, the grading companies themselves aren't innocent by no means. None of them. Many of the people inside of them may have even been a part of it at some point or unknowingly have been a part of it at some point. We know there's things that happen that shouldn't happen in this card space. But to say it's okay and to allow those folks that want to be deceiving victorious, you're failing the system. Like, that would literally take away any point of grading. Any point. Grading is meant to have a third party opinion on the conditional aspect of a card. If if it gets to the point where trimming and all the alteration stuff is accepted, there's no point anymore. Because eventually you could just continuously, oh, well, send it in, it got a 6. Okay, well, I'm going to work on it a little bit more. Oh, send it back, it got an 8. Oh, well, I'm going to see if I can squeeze out maybe a 9. And every time you do that, you're just increasing the value because the graded levels are so far apart. The difference between a 9 and a 10 is so substantial that people would just continuously try to work on that card a little bit more to get a 10. There's no way in hell that it could be accepted. It makes 0 point for it to be accepted. It's 100% deception, literally fraud at that point. And I heard something about Dr. Beckett said it's not against the law, but yet, what was the whole deal with the FBI and Moser? I thought that had to do with trimming. I don't know the full details of that case, but when I heard that, I was like, wait a second. I thought Gary Moser was, uh, found like against the law, federal, for trimming and doctoring cards and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. But anyway, I just thought I'd get on, talk for a few minutes, and share my thoughts on the topic. If it's a card for your PC and you're not grading it, you don't like the look of it, do as you damn well please. Cut the borders off. If the borders are ugly, if the card's off center, hell, cut them off. You know, if you have a Jacoby Brissett that Panini doesn't know how to print right, cut the damn borders off. Square it up. Make it perfect. Make it perfectly centered. Then put it in a binder. Or if you want to get it slabbed as an authentic slab, by all means. These are beautiful cards. I mean, beautiful. Just saying. I find them affordable though. I'm not looking for the high grade vintage because that's not why I buy the cards. Um, if those cards stayed at the same value that I purchased them at when I pass and hand them down to my kids, if they decide to sell them, still a good bit of money there. They don't have to increase. Hopefully, they don't decrease. But either way, I'm glad I own them, and I think they're a beautiful copy. So that's all I got for you guys. Hope you had a wonderful Wednesday. Hope your week is going well. Moving into the weekend. Hope it goes great for you. We are halfway through May, and we'll be moving into June very shortly. So that's all I got for you guys. As always, please stay safe, stay healthy, and until the next video, I'm out.